Good morning and welcome to the Lakers Lowdown. I'm Anthony Irwin. Today on the show, look, second night of a back-to-back. Guys look tired. No Rui, still no Vanderbilt. A win is a win is a win is a win. Yeah, I have notes. Yeah, there are things to take away from this game. Yeah, we started to see what Darvin Ham meant when he said that he was going to tighten up rotations. But at the end of the day, the Lakers are 2-2, and it feels a lot better than if they were currently sitting here right now at 1-3. The final in LA in moneylaunderingarena.com, 106-103. The Lakers beat the Orlando Magic. Up and down kind of game. Lakers took in like 6 to 8 point lead at various points in the game. Orlando held an 8 point lead in the third quarter that the Lakers had to come back and get back into the game from. I think the starters continue to struggle here, and I do kind of wonder if we're reaching that point. The Lakers are about to play their fifth game. Usually, Darvin Ham treats these kinds of decisions with like he wants like 10 game sample sizes, so maybe they're like halfway there before he makes a more meaningful change to the rotation. But that starting unit, and that's honestly where I wanted to start this conversation. That starting unit is leaving a lot to be desired. They place like I know I said that I wanted them to be like this team that executed in the half court, that played enough defense to essentially, outscore other teams' starting fives. But what we're seeing with that first unit, at least right now, given the way that everybody is playing, and I don't think this is the way everybody is going to be playing over the course of the year, most notably Austin Reaves, who we'll talk about here in a little bit. I think he is going to be better. And when he starts playing better, this starting group will make a lot more sense. But the ways that Austin isn't playing very well aren't really the things that I am frustrated with, when I watch that first unit play together. They are so passive. They are like I hesitate to call any unit with LeBron James and Anthony Davis soft, but can somebody else say it? They don't put arms in chests when players cut across their faces. They give up offensive rebounds. Essentially, what a lot of teams are doing, the ways that they are attacking Anthony Davis when he's on defense, is A, when they see that he finishes a possession around the basket in the paint or something like that, or even better, on the floor, those teams like watch the other bench, watch them when Anthony Davis finishes an offensive possession on his butt or in the paint. Those teams are screaming at everybody who is on the court, go, go, go. Because, and it makes sense, right? Like the Lakers defense is always going to be kind of a wreck when Anthony Davis isn't in the middle of it. And so if Anthony Davis is taking his time getting back on defense, of course the other team is going to push the ball. Like that makes all the sense in the world. So that's one way that they're attacking him. The other way that the Lakers are, or that other teams are attacking the Lakers when Anthony Davis isn't on the court, is basically is kind of a funny way that they're doing it, but they're running all kinds of actions to actually get Anthony Davis out onto the perimeter. And no, it isn't necessarily the kind of like mismatch that you hunt per se. I don't think anybody is like, ooh, hell yeah, we got Anthony Davis in isolation. No, I actually think what it is more so than that is by bringing Anthony Davis out onto the perimeter, the Lakers are not a good rebounding team. They aren't a good help defensive team, and especially with that unit that is out there when it is Reaves, Prince, and D'Lo around LeBron and AD. Yeah, the other team is just really attacking on the backside of that defense whenever AD is your primary defender, and that's what a lot of teams are kind of running to force the Lakers into that spot. So that is going to be something that's going to be interesting to watch. And that's honestly like when people are asking why are Christian Wood's on off numbers what they are, and they're pretty staggering, and the basketball just looks better when he's out there. Well, the reason is because he's some rim protection, he is some rebounding on the backside when opposing teams try to bring Anthony Davis out into space. Um, and so yeah, I that starting group, the more that I've now watched them together, and again, I don't think this is who they will be for the entirety of the season. I do think this is like the worst version of the basketball that group is going to play together is right now, because a big part of that group is Austin Reaves just being better. And because he hasn't been, he was another rough game for him tonight. You look at the 31 minutes, 5 of 12 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3-point range, a game low. Yeah. A game no, not just even Lakers low, but a game low minus 14 on the night. Um, that group, they just need to play better for one thing. But I also think just in terms of personality or character of that group is not one that is going to get up and defend very well. And they need to score better than they currently are. And because Russell has kind of struggled to shoot the ball the way that to start this season, because Reaves has really struggled to start this season, that group isn't doing enough on offense to help out the defense, and it's just kind of a mess. Whether that's at the start of the game or at the start of the second half or whenever that group is kind of out there together, the basketball is really gross. It's too slow. It's too lackadaisical. It's just, yeah, I think whenever Jared Vanderbilt gets back, I think it might make some sense, even though it's going to hurt your shooting and it might hurt that group's offense. You still have enough offense there between Reaves, Russell, LeBron, and AD to be effective offensively. And I think Vanderbilt can really help on the not just like the general defense, but just like the give up leap. That group right now, when you watch them play, you don't really sense any urgency whatsoever. And I think Vanderbilt, that is one thing he would definitely bring to the table. Problem is, we don't know when we're going to see Vanderbilt again. So, in the short term, that group is going to have to figure some stuff out. In the long term, though, I do kind of wonder if Vanderbilt makes more sense in that first group or with that first group than Prince does, moving forward. I do want to give some credit here to Anthony Davis. One of the I look, I have been very hard on him this season. I do think the transition offense and defense is kind of a problem with him, but he was very, very good tonight, and has been very good basically since the opener when Jokic ate his lunch. But in this one, he finishes the game 26 points, 19 boards. Would have been nice to get that 20th right, which would have been an offensive rebound, and we maybe don't have to sweat as much at the end of that game. But yeah, 26 points, 19 boards, 5 assists. 2 of those rebounds were offensive, a steal, 3 blocks. Was a -2 on the game, and I think that is in large part because the single big lineups that the Lakers have out there when LeBron isn't out there have been really bad. Like they have not been very effective. And it's for all of the reasons. Like, say what you will about LeBron in that starting group, but if you have LeBron on the backside there's at least like some muscle in there to kind of stop some teams and some guys from driving into the basket just full bore. But if it is like AD and Reddish and Gabe and Reaves and another like not big, that that unit is really struggling to defend, and those types of lineups are really struggling to defend. I we again got this time we got 14 minutes with Jackson Hayes. We got 10 minutes with Jackson Hayes, 14 minutes of Cam Reddish. For some reason, even without Rui in the rotation, Darvin opted not to play Max Christie again, which at some point it might be worth. I'll probably start asking around like what are they seeing that he is just not capable of getting into the game? It's not like Reddish has been incredible out there. He finishes tonight, no points, a couple rebounds, couple assists, a steal, 0 for 1 from 3-point range. I believe is it was a pretty big miss too from the corner that he misses, and then Orlando goes down and makes that basket. So it was kind of a swing play. But AD though, since the opener, and in this one was against a kind of a more physical front court. Wendell Carter Jr. is like a legitimately like good defensive center. And I thought AD really kind of took it to him, had Carter in foul trouble. And there were a couple stretches here there where I felt myself kind of wondering, like, all right, when's AD gonna get the ball again? And but they were fewer and further between those stints here with AD tonight. And I thought he was a big part of, probably the biggest part of the Lakers winning this game. So and the other thing too with AD, he's gotten a tough whistle this season to start. He 2 of 3 from the free throw line. I counted a couple times where I thought he probably should have been at the line. And the thing with him getting to the line is like him shooting under those circumstances and being able to shoot the ball and watch it go through the basket. I think that does really help set up the rest of his game. He didn't necessarily need it in this one, though he was 0 for 1 from 3-point range. That one that he did take, he didn't seem to want to take it. So he's very much a rhythm shooter, very much a confident shooter. And the fact that he isn't getting to the free throw line or isn't being rewarded with free throws on the plays that he should be, it's I think that would help his shooting and not just like making shots, but also taking them more confidently. Him getting to the line, I think, would help there. But regardless, with or without getting to the free throw line, an objectively good Anthony Davis game here on both sides of the court. Good to see against a more physical Orlando Magic front court. The other, I would say, biggest part in winning this game, I thought, was D'Angelo Russell, actually. He hit some absolutely monster shots on offense, whether it was threes to, get back into games, whether it was threes to take the lead late, whether it was getting to the free throw line late. Like, I thought I thought at various points in this one, and we always see this with LeBron teams, but it really felt at times like, if LeBron didn't score, the Lakers just weren't going to score in that fourth quarter, and nobody looked all that comfortable shooting if it wasn't LeBron shooting. And I thought the only player who kind of accepted that challenge, accepted those moments, and rose to those moments was D'Angelo Russell. The defense continues to be, it's getting a little bit more inconsistent. He's making a few more mistakes off of the ball, I think, now than he was earlier this year, but I do think he's still competing. Did actually alter a couple shots, dunked on people, which, look, I knew he could dunk. He's like 6'6" or 6'5" or whatever it is. I knew he could dunk, but I didn't think he was, if we saw him dunk, it was going to be over people. That was certainly a shocker, and that was good to see. But yeah, 36 minutes for D'Lo, 10 of 14 from the field, which is fantastic. 3 of 6 from deep, 5 of 5 from the line, 28 points, 8 assists, couple boards, a steal and a block. And was a +7, which outside of Wood and Gabe Vincent led the way for the Lakers. Certainly led the way for the Lakers starters. He was a +7. LeBron was a +5. And the Lakers don't win this game without what Russell was doing, not just like on both sides of the court, but also very importantly, a willingness to like do stuff when the Lakers were all kind of looking to LeBron, like, hey, you're gonna keep doing stuff, right? It was nice to see Russell be like, no, I can do stuff too. I'll take this possession, and the Lakers don't win that game without him. Speaking of LeBron, 19 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, did have 5 turnovers, and did, I think, handle the last couple possessions offensively not the best. Uh, I thought that he waited too long to go on both of those possessions. One time he had to basically dribbled for 24 seconds and shot a three. The other time he dribbled for 21 seconds and got the ball to Wood, who had to shoot a three. And I thought the Lakers offense really kind of got stuck in the mud late. That's something that they're going to have to work on moving forward because I think they're going to play a lot of close games here. And this is where, these reps are very important. Not that LeBron needs a ton of reps, but I think as a team, the Lakers need a few more reps here so they could like bring the screen up a little sooner and get into their actions a little bit more quickly. But yeah, in this one, and I think here, one real trend here in this Lakers season is that the Lakers have like I thought that because they built through, with depth and they have a lot more professionals on their team that the Lakers wouldn't be such a disaster when LeBron isn't on the court. That has not been the case so far this year. The Lakers desperately need to figure something out when he isn't there because like as cool as it is and as marvelous and as insane as it is to just kind of like look at this and be like, how is he doing this? I don't want to have to keep asking that question. I would like at some point for the Lakers to make life a little bit easier on LeBron, whether that's making shots, whether that's creating, whatever it is. The Lakers cannot continue to hope to get this from LeBron night in, night out. And I thought in this one, again, he played 33 minutes. That is more than the 29 or so that Darvin Ham said that he and the coaching staff want LeBron playing on a nightly basis. I think 31, 32, 33 is like okay for me. But to me, like what makes me nervous, especially late in the game, he is having to work so effing hard on offense. And I think part of this is Reaves again, who we'll talk about here in a second. And I think part of this is just you have a lot of guys kind of not going through the motions in the sense that like they aren't trying hard, though. I do think that first group needs a fire under their butts, but I think that you have a lot of guys like walking through the motions, like literally numbering out the motions that they need to do on offense, and what that results in is a lot of like, shit, I guess I have to create again from LeBron, and it, he's still capable of it, which is insane at 39 years old. But at some point, the Lakers need to not need this much from him. I know I said that really poorly. I'm an English major. I'm just as disappointed in myself as you are right now listening. But the Lakers need to be better in those non-LeBron minutes so that every time he is out there, he's out there on the court, the Lakers don't need, you know, Herculean efforts to either get back into the game or extend a lead or get a lead back or whatever that the Lakers keep on squandering or losing or digging further from having the lead while he is out there. It just needs to be better when LeBron isn't on the court, and whatever goes into that, it's a variety of things, but why even again it just I get so nervous when you ask so much of a guy this early in the season, knowing that there are still, what is it, 78 other games to play before you even get to the really, really tough ones that count a little bit more. And no, I don't mean the in-season tournament. Um, I'm gonna try to. I want to be absolutely clear here. I still very much believe in Austin Reaves. I really, really do. I do think that the way that he is playing right now is because his legs are dead coming off of FIBA. And you could look at a lot of the other guys that are coming off of FIBA play, and you could see that they are also going through some of this as well. All that said, the Lakers need a lot more from him. And once you get that contract extension and you are making like legit starter money, the expectation those expectations get raised, and he is not playing up to those expectations so far this year on either side of the ball. To be completely honest, he isn't really competing on defense. He's getting knocked off of spots. I thought Orlando's guards uh, really gave him some issues on both sides of the ball in this one, where on offense they were taking the ball straight into his chest and knocking him back and getting themselves some good opportunities that way. On defense, they're pressing up, and basically the only way that Austin is getting any separation is with a screen, and that was not the case last year. I just think he's dead. He's missing a lot of shots short, no matter where he's taking them on the court. And yeah, I was watching him, and this was the first game watching him that I thought to myself, it might make some sense to give him another week or so to get his legs underneath him, because, playing as often as you have to in the regular season, if you go into the season, if you start the season obviously and clearly fatigued, it's not like it's going to get much better over the course of the next few months, over the next 78 games before you get to the playoffs. The Lakers need a lot more from him on both sides of the ball. And I want to be clear. I know a lot of people watched FIBA and took from that, ooh, I wonder if that's how teams are going to attack him next year with the Lakers. And I think some of that was somewhat overblown. I do think there is some legitimacy to it, uh, mostly because it is going to be very important for teams to get Reaves off of the court. And one way that you could potentially do that is to attack him on offense. But uh, I to me, it's some of the off-ball stuff, it's some of the physical stuff, it's boxing out and doing those kinds of things. And then on offense, one thing that has really stuck out to me is he just doesn't look very comfortable in some of his reads. He's doing at least I think a couple to a few times a game so far. You see him drive into the paint and he finishes with his back to the basket, and the offense stops because he didn't necessarily make the right read. And that isn't something that I ever thought that the Lakers would really have to worry about with him. So that's kind of an issue. But I think the biggest place that this really shows up, he isn't the most talented lateral athlete that has ever existed. So some of this is just because of some of who he is as an athlete, but he isn't really generating any space, and he hasn't really blown by anybody so far to start the season. And it really makes me think, again, even granting that my expectation level isn't like peak Derrick Rose here or current John Morant or anything like that, but the last year, if he had the ball in isolation, he was at least able to turn the corner and then use that little bit of leverage to get into the defender. And that's how he was drawing fouls. In this case, he's not even kind of turning the corner. And it makes it really difficult for him to put himself in a position where a referee sees him lose an advantage by way of the contact that a defender makes. I it's kind of tough with Vando already out, and we have to see what's going on with Rui. And um, it sucks to get to this stage or only reach this stage of a season and think to yourself, maybe it makes some sense for him to get a little bit of rest. But I think we are there. I do legitimately think that the Lakers would be well served. And I do wonder if they might kind of, you know, give him at least a week, maybe at least a couple games here or there to just get his legs underneath him again. Sometimes players will also say when they take a bit of a break and they just focus on film study, or they watch other guys go through some of the spots and put themselves in circumstances that Austin would be functioning in, and seeing how those players handle those spots sometimes help as well. I just think a break, generally speaking, would be pretty good for a guy who just doesn't look very confident. And that is not something I ever thought I would say. Watching Austin is like, I he's lacking that FU mentality. For those who, I hope you did listen, but when Harrison and I talked to Mirren about the piece that she wrote about Austin, one of like his apparent core tenets as a player and as a person is F you middle fingers, we are competing here. And I just haven't really seen that mentality from him at this point in the season. Again, it's only 4 games and I'm not worried, but the Lakers do need a lot more from Austin. And I do kind of wonder if it would make sense for everybody involved to give him at least a couple games here to figure some stuff out, to get his legs back underneath him. Um, Dude is so desperate that he cut off a chunk of his hair to make his body a little lighter. He didn't, but he did get a haircut. And it sucks. I hate watching him play this way because he just clearly isn't himself. And I know that the response from folks online has been a lot of like, "Oh, he got paid and he's not trying anymore." Well, to those people, I would mostly say,
Will somebody suppress that?
well, it's supposed to say somebody suppressed that clown, but they cut off a chunk of the audio. That sucks. But yeah, I just think that it isn't because he got paid and doesn't care anymore. It isn't because he is now like okay with the one bag that he has got to this point, the one contract that he has gotten to this point in his career. I really think he's really effing tired from FIBA, and it would benefit him and the Lakers to let him get closer to 100% so that the next time we see him, he is the player who earned the contract that people are now all of a sudden iffy about. All right, I'm going to go through the comments here and yeah, so JD makes a good point here, right? So if Reaves doesn't play on Wednesday, the Lakers wouldn't play again until Saturday, and that would give Reaves a nice chunk of days there to just recuperate, just recover a little bit because he very clearly needs to. Um, go through here's another question. Why do they hate on the Lakers for losing to the Denver and the Kings, but the Bucks lost to the Hawks and the Clippers, got destroyed by the Jazz, and nobody mentions it? I don't know who you're watching, you're paying attention to, so I can't say like who what gets covered by and who doesn't react to certain losses or whatever. Um, it's a long NBA season. Everybody loses games that they shouldn't. And I think it's important to offer up the context that goes into those games if and when they happen. And, for me on my channel, I am talking about the Lakers losses because I cover the Lakers. Whatever the ESPNs and the Foxes and whatever other channels say about the Lakers, it's out of my control. And frankly, I don't really care. Steven says Prince should not be starting. He gets no rebounds at all and is a streaky shooter. Start Wood. So this is interesting because I totally understand. I frankly agree that the Lakers have looked their best when AD and Wood are out there together. I do think that is going to be a kind of foundational aspect of this team's identity moving forward is playing with those two guys out there and just being big. I think eventually that'll be the case. But I will say, while we wait for more news on Vanderbilt, and the Lakers obviously have a lot more information on this than we do, but I do kind of think that it makes some sense to continue to play Prince. One, because a 4-game sample I don't think is enough to make a decision on the starting group. Two, because it is, I think, a little bit more natural going from a perimeter defender, an extra perimeter defender in Vanderbilt or Prince to, one or the other than it is to go from Prince to now starting 2 bigs and really kind of shifting the team's identity. Um, I I I do kind of think, at least until we get the next update on Vanderbilt, that Prince probably is going to continue to start. And I do think that's mostly the right call, even while I understand and honestly agree that the Lakers have looked a lot better with Wood and Anthony Davis out there together. All right, that is going to do it. Yeah, that is going to do it for the comments here. Going to take a quick look around the league before we get you guys out of here. All right, so it was a busy night in the NBA. You did have, quite a few games here. In the Western Conference, I'm looking at to the comment earlier. The Hawks beat up on the Timberwolves. The Wolves sit at 1-2, and that is going to matter. Those guys are going to be in that same kind of grouping, I think, as the Lakers and like 6 or 7 other teams for seeding in the Western Conference heading into the playoffs. That was interesting. The Mavericks beat the Grizzlies 125-110. Grizzlies now sit at 0-4. I said a few shows back that I thought that there might be too much that Memphis has to overcome between Ja being an idiot, between Steven Adams' injury, and even Brandon Clark's injury that he is still recovering from. Um, Memphis, started the season with a very uphill climb, and now they're 0-4, and you know, all of these like tangible gaps, and in this case, where the Grizzlies are already, a few games back of the teams that they are going to be competing with, to make the playoffs and get proper seeding with. Like, this is a lot to ask of a already shorthanded Grizzlies team, and I do kind of think that like they might, really slip up and really reach some almost impossible territory to recover from. The Warriors beat the Pelicans. Warriors currently sit at 3-1. Steph went nuts, 42 points for him, and he has really started the season on a tear. The Warriors being 3-1, I believe most of their games have come without Draymond Green, so I think they could still potentially get a little bit better. I still have my questions about them, but them racking up wins early in the season, that is important. That kind of stuff matters. The Thunder beat the Pistons at home 124-112. That's one of those wins that like you don't even notice at the end of the, as it happens. But when, the Thunder are right there with the Lakers and everybody else in the standings, the games that you always tend to look back on are the dumb ones that you really like, you can't believe you lost. And had the Thunder lost to the Pistons at home, that would have qualified for one of those losses that you really look back and kick yourself over. The Nuggets also stay perfect on the season. They are 4-0. They are clearly the best team in the NBA. They beat the Jazz 110-102. The Jazz are now 1-3 and, have some ground to make up coming off of a promising year last year. The Jazz are now all of a sudden 1-3. They're one win coming against the Clippers, which look good. So I do think the Jazz are still capable of being a pretty good team, but these again, all of these wins are going to matter, and this is why on a nightly basis, I'm going to like look back on some of these games, and in this case, I wouldn't say that it's too early in the season to say that the Lakers got help per se, though. Like, had the Pistons beat the Thunder, that would have qualified to me. Even now in October, that would have qualified to me as some help that they got. But yeah, it didn't necessarily get any help here tonight. But it is worth always keeping an eye on what's going on around the conference, not just standings wise, but also just kind of like understand how good some of these other teams are. So you are that much more informed with takes about the Lakers, given the context around the league. All right. That is going to do it here. Here's another quick question. Do you think Alex Chavez, do you think Clutch / LeBron have that much of an influence in Cam getting minutes over Christie? What would Aaron say? Unnamed cognac is delicious, right? This wine, very delicious. Man. All right. I'll be serious. Yes. To answer the question, yes, that is a factor here. Also, Cam Reddish is a veteran that the Lakers, I think, are giving an opportunity to prove that he belongs in the rotation. I don't think he's really done that to this point. So I think eventually we'll get to some more Max Christie minutes. The other thing, Max Christie is a second year, second round draft pick who, yeah, we like a lot and has shown some stuff over the course of his career that we say that guy can play, but the Lakers are also seeing more than we are. And clearly they haven't been blown away either by preseason practices and training camp, nothing like that. Like at no point this training camp did I hear any report or any whisper that, man, Max is really killing it in camp. I did not. I wish I had, but I did not. And in the preseason, there was some stuff we liked, but he also kind of struggled to knock down his jumper. And if he isn't knocking down his jumper, that makes it really difficult to play him. That said, I do think as the year goes on, and as the Lakers find out for sure, which I think we mostly know, but I think because of the clutch connection, the Lakers are going to want to be able to say, look, man, like you watching, he can't keep playing. And until we reach that point, I think because of the relationship that the Lakers want to continue to have with LeBron and with Clutch moving beyond the LeBron era, which I know people roll their eyes over, but the Lakers, I think, especially in this era that we're in with the NBA, where CAA is, the Knicks are kind of an extension of CAA. Obviously, you have the relationship with Clutch and LeBron. Like agencies are really going to play an important role in the league's makeup moving forward. Always have, but I think more so now moving forward. And in this case, the relationship between the Lakers and Clutch is going to extend beyond LeBron. So they're basically saying, hey, man, what we can give you is a few games here at the beginning of the season for Cam to prove he belongs out there. And if he doesn't, our hands are tied, but we can at least look you in the eye and say we tried. And I think that's basically what we're seeing here to this point before we eventually get to Max Christie playing the minutes that he, I think, should be playing now. All right, that is going to do it here for this episode of the Lakers Lowdown. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Big win here for the Lakers, right? Like I said about the Thunder playing the Pistons, had the Lakers lost this game, yes, it was the second night of a back-to-back, and yes, Orlando is better than I think people give them credit for because they're the Orlando Magic. But this is not a game that the Lakers could lose at home. Not like it wasn't a must win or anything like that, but it would have been one of those games that at the end of the season, had the Lakers come up one win short from home court in the first round or from avoiding the play-in or whatever it is, this is the kind of game, losing to Orlando at home, that you look back on and you go like, can we get it? Can we get a do-over? Can we get a breakfast ball? Yeah? No? All right. But yeah, we do still have a fun week ahead of you guys, for you guys. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Please continue to subscribe and review on iTunes and everywhere that you get your podcasts. Please subscribe here if you are watching live right now on YouTube. I do have some fun stuff that I'm going to, keep trying out on kind of specifically for YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube so that on Friday you can come on stage and I can be the, I guess it's a lounge VIP. Become a lounge VIP so that on Friday you can come up on stage when we all get together, as we do every week there. And until next time I talk to you guys, I'm Anthony Irwin saying have a great rest of your day. Make somebody else's, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.